we have to talk about the Switch 2, and more specifically, how Nintendo just casually admitted that they've basically priced an entire generation out of their own ecosystem. And the response? Go enjoy Mario in a theme park or something. I'm not kidding. Nintendo's president literally just came out and said, yes, the Switch 2 is more expensive than past consoles, and yes, that means some kids won't get to play it. But hey, that's fine because you can experience Nintendo outside of consoles. I don't want to experience Pikachu in a cereal aisle. I want to catch him on a screen in my hands, like I did when I was 10. Let's dive into this, because what Furukawa said tells us a lot about where Nintendo's head is at, and where they're dragging this industry. So the Nintendo Switch 2 dropped last month with a launch MSRP of $449.99 USD. Let's be real, $450 is a lot of money in any economy, but right now, with rising rent, food costs through the roof, and wages staying put, that is just straight up unaffordable for a lot of people. You know what the original Switch launched at back in 2017? $299. And that thing took off like crazy, because it was affordable, fun, and felt like a breath of fresh air in a sea of big black boxes. But now, Nintendo is basically saying, here's a more powerful version of that, but it'll cost you a car payment. So here's the kicker. During a recent shareholders Q&A, Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa was asked straight up, aren't you worried that the price of the Switch 2 is too high for younger gamers? And Furukawa didn't deny it. He literally said, quote, it is true that the Nintendo Switch 2 is more expensive than previous game consoles. Then he went on to say, we are creating various opportunities for young children to experience Nintendo characters and the world of games outside of game consoles. I'm sorry, what? You're telling me the solution to a $450 console is stickers? Cartoon shows? Visiting Mario at Universal Studios? That's not a solution. That's a distraction. Imagine being a kid today. You're growing up hearing about all these amazing games, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey, Animal Crossing. But when it comes time to actually play? Nope. Too expensive. Go color in a Mario coloring book. It's the gaming version of We Have Food at Home. You can't tell me that Nintendo, of all companies, doesn't understand how important affordability is. The Game Boy, the Wii, the DS Lite, these were iconic because they were accessible. They weren't about specs or 4K output. They were about letting everyone play. Now it feels like Nintendo's trying to become Apple, treating its hardware like a premium luxury product. But here's the difference. I need a phone. I don't need a Nintendo console. It's entertainment. And when entertainment costs $500,000, you're going to lose a big chunk of your audience. Now, to be fair, yes, there are economic reasons behind this price. There's been a global chip shortage, manufacturing costs are higher, inflation is hitting everyone. And recently, the US government slapped a 20% import tariff on consoles made in places like Vietnam and Cambodia, where Nintendo does a lot of its production. So yeah, those consoles are now more expensive to get into North America. Nintendo says it's not passing that cost to consumers yet, but they're watching the situation closely. You know what that means? Brace yourselves, because if tariffs keep up, the Switch 2 could easily jump from $449 to $499 or even higher. And they'll just blame the economy. Meanwhile, they're raking in money hand over fist. And here's the wild part. Despite the price, the Switch 2 is selling like crazy. In just 1 month, they sold 5.4 million units. That's twice what the original Switch did at launch. It's already Nintendo's fastest-selling console. But let's not pretend that's sustainable. Those 5.4 million, that's not kids. That's hardcore fans, adult gamers, content creators, scalpers, people who would have bought the Switch 2 at any price. But what happens 6 months from now, when the hype dies down, when there aren't enough big games out yet, and when families still can't afford to jump in? That's when Nintendo is going to feel the price pinch. Sales will slow, interest will fade, and all they'll have to blame is their own greed. And just when you think it can't get worse, let's talk about Canada. You'd think with the new console out, the older models would go on sale, right? Nope. Nintendo raised the price of the original Switch in Canada. They also bumped prices on games, DLC, and even Switch Online. I'm sorry, what? You're charging more for an 8-year-old console while launching a new one at a premium? That's not market adjustment. That's corporate greed. And if you think that's staying in Canada, think again. Where one market goes, others follow. This is Nintendo testing the waters to see what they can get away with. Look, I don't want to hate on Nintendo. I love this company. I grew up with them. They've shaped how I think about gaming, about storytelling, about fun. But lately, they seem to have forgotten who they are. You are the company that let us play Pokémon on the go when our parents wouldn't buy us a PlayStation. You are the company that gave us Wii Sports for free and got grandma's gaming. Now you're the company telling 9-year-olds to go experience Mario outside of game consoles because your new system costs as much as a PS5? That's not Nintendo. That's just disappointing. If you're serious about reaching families and younger gamers again, do what you always do. Give us a cheaper version. A Switch 2 Lite, $249. Maybe it's handheld only. Maybe it's got a smaller screen. Maybe it doesn't dock. I don't care. Make it so parents don't have to choose between groceries and gaming. Let kids get back into your ecosystem before they all wander off to mobile games or cloud streaming. Because if you don't, those 5.4 million units might be the peak, not the beginning. So yeah, Nintendo, this is your wake-up call. We love you, we support you. But if you're gonna price out the very people who built your empire, don't expect loyalty to last forever. You need to fix this before the price becomes a problem you can't walk back from. Let me know in the comments. Did you buy the Switch 2? Do you think it's too expensive? Would a light version bring you back in? Or are you sticking with your OG Switch? Smash that like button if you think Nintendo needs a reality check. Sub if you want more honest takes. And hey, maybe send this to Nintendo while you're at it. Catch you in the next one.